Hello, and welcome to our new spring course. This is Big Data, Surveillance, Algorithmic Bias, and Ethics in Education Data Science. And we're really excited to introduce ourselves, introduce the course, and we might see you on the 19th at our live Q&A if you have more questions after this. Avriel, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Avriel Epps-Darling. I am a fourth year PhD student here at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. I'm also a master's candidate in data science over at the School of Engineering here at Harvard. And I'm really excited to be teaching this course as well. And I'm sure you'll get to know a lot more about my research, my work, and Emma's research and her work as the course goes on. But just briefly, I study algorithmic bias and its effects on adolescents.
Fantastic.
Emma, what about you? Who are you?
Yeah, thanks. So my name is Emma. I'm also a fourth year doctoral student here at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. I study education policy and data science. And my background is as a statistician. And so I like topics at the intersection now of statistics and education, which for me includes talking about ethical college admissions and looking at the impacts of test optional policies on admissions and equity. And I'm also doing work in statistics and data science education that I'm really excited about, and seeing how young people perceive data and think about data themselves. And Avriel and I met in a couple of years ago when we got really excited to talk about these topics. Avriel, do you want to share more about how this course came to be?
Yeah, so long story short, I cornered Emma in the library and was like, hey, let's design this course. We had both been teaching fellows for a similar parent course, one might say, over at the School of Engineering, called Critical Thinking and Data Science. And I had thought and had posed to Emma, wouldn't be interesting to do something similar, but focusing specifically on topics in education and topics that pertain specifically to young people, since that is one of the central themes of both of our research. And I think courses like these that contend with the ethics in machine learning and AI are really important, because everything we touch every single day is connected to artificial intelligence in some way. Everything we do on our phones, what we're doing right now on Zoom, how you're connecting with us. These are data-driven technologies that have profound implications and are hurting people and harming young people in particular in really unique ways. And so I think it's important to create a course that allows students to think through many of the implications of these technologies, think about their role in participating in these systems, and think about their role as potential future technologists or youth advocates, or liaisons between schools and technology companies, or governments and technology companies, to just really understand what could go wrong, what has gone wrong, and how to make technology work better for everyone, not just a select group of people. Emma, anything to add to that?
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic. We're excited specifically to bring this course to the ed school, because, like Avriel said, the ways in which data and AI are just permeating society is really hitting young people pretty hard, and they often don't get a lot of say in how this is going to go. And those decisions get made by schools and parents and policymakers and administrators, and also by companies. And one thing that we've both really admired about the qualitative tradition of research is that qualitative researchers are really good at identifying their own epistemological assumptions when they do research, and thinking really carefully about their positionality as researchers, and having this practice of like continual reflexivity as they do research. And I come from this background in statistics, where historically there's this kind of veneer of objectivity and this fallacy that data can speak for itself. And we really want to dig into that, because anything that you see with data is the product of a lot of decisions from people who have their own particular goals and their own particular blind spots. And so we're excited to spend some time unpacking that with you all in this course. Avriel, would you mind brushing over some of the main goals that we have for this course in particular, and for the sort of 6 or 7 weeks we'll be spending together?
Yeah, for sure. So we want to really introduce students to what exactly is big data and how it's defined differently from other forms of quantitative or even qualitative data. You'll notice that this isn't a course just about statistics, but about big data in general. I'm sorry, not just about statistics in general, but about big data specifically. And so what does that mean? What are data-driven technologies? What is data science as opposed to the kind of quantitative research that you might learn about in a course like S40 or S52? Are there any real differences there? And then what are the most pressing concerns with regards to privacy and data collected on minors through computational means? We're also going to talk about, as Emma alluded to earlier, the epistemological assumptions that are embedded in data science and the critiques of those assumptions, as well as some of the common approaches to collecting, cleaning, analyzing, and using the insights gleaned from big data and data-driven technologies, and where some of the biases and really unethical, creepy things might start to happen in those processes. And then finally, we'll spend a lot of time thinking about how researcher positionality and identity impact our assessments and our use of quantitative tools and big data driven tools in the research process, which I think is something that, if you've taken any other statistics courses here at Hugsy, is not something that's as heavily engaged in those quantitative spaces. So here's the place where we really want to dig deep into what it means to be a researcher and what it means to be the researcher in the body that you are in. So speaking of other courses here at Hugsy, Emma, do you want to talk about what students should be coming to the table with when they come to take our class?
Yeah. So like Avriel mentioned, we've got a lot of goals for how we want to think about the role of data and quantitative methods in society and compared to the researchers who are doing them. What we won't have time for is to introduce these things from scratch. So what we would recommend for students who are interested in this course, we think that anyone who has a background basically to the level of S40, if you took that in the fall, or an equivalent course in a different school, we think you'll have the main ideas that you'll need to be able to understand the big themes that we're talking about, and some of the technical specifics we talk about will be light-ish on those, so that we do require some background. If you're not sure if this course is a good fit for you, please reach out to us. Our emails are on the Canvas website and are on the syllabus, and we'd love to chat about what your participation in the course might look like, and we can talk that through on a case-by-case basis. But for most people, we would recommend some technical background. And we think that being sort of like a co-requisite, if you're also taking S52 or S22 or something else like that this spring, that there might be some really great synergies there, and you can see how those themes move between the two classes.
I'll also add that there is no coding requirements, no math that will be assigned in the course. So if you're not up to speed with Python or anything like that, don't worry. There are no problem sets. All of our assessments will be writing and oral based.
Yeah, that's a fantastic note. Thank you. Great. Let's talk about what the course is going to look like. Avriel, would you talk about, like you said that we're doing some writing assignments. What are the kind of week by week activities of the course going to be here?
Yeah, so each week we're going to read the assigned course readings on that week's topics, and we'll collaboratively discuss and annotate all of those readings on a platform called Perusal. which is fabulous. It's basically a crowdsourced annotation tool where you can see what other people are thinking and commenting on and highlighting on the same readings, and begin to have conversations about specific things in the text with your classmates asynchronously. There are some weeks there may be some asynchronous videos to watch that motivate the readings or summarize some of the technical concepts that are needed to understand them. And we'll also be participating synchronously through our 2 weekly 75-minute instructor-led discussion activity case-based sessions. So the entire course will happen remotely, both synchronously and asynchronously. Those twice a week synchronous sessions are required. We'll also be doing a series of assignments throughout the course, 2 kind of mini assignments, and then 1 final project that has multiple checkpoints to help assess learning and be able to get instructor and peer feedback on your learning and thinking about the topics as well. How does assessment work, Emma?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in this class we're really interested in building you guys up and your ability to think about these things and take risks in like trying on different perspectives and thinking critically, thinking carefully. And so our philosophy of assessment is very feedback oriented and hoping that we can help you to improve and stretch your thinking. And so the way that that's going to work for us is it's not super letter grade based or number based. We're gonna, for every like little piece of like weekly participation, for every mini assignment, we'll give you an R for ready to move on if it's looking great. If it's anything less than that, you'll have the opportunity to take that feedback in and resubmit to be able to get that R. And that is also true of the final project as well, and the checkpoints associated with that. You'll get some peer feedback on your final project checkpoints too. And yeah, our philosophy is really here about helping you to improve in a safe environment and really just trying to learn and master these new ideas. There's more information in our syllabus, and you can hit us up via email or in our Q&A if there are questions about this. But we have seen it work well in other classes, an assessment philosophy like this.
Yeah, so as far as assignments go, like I said, we'll have 2 mini assignments. The first being an exercise in reflexivity, where students will have to write a short memo on a case study that's presented in class. The second will be really fun. We'll be doing a peer privacy audit where students will perform a mini research project on another student in the class, essentially auditing their digital footprint to understand what can be found out about an individual based purely on publicly available information on the internet, and what implications that has for digital privacy, especially as it relates to young people whose digital footprints are cradle to grave. I'm assuming there will be digital natives in this course. I am a few years out from being a digital native, but there's a lot about me you can find on the internet from my youth that I am not so proud about. But I think this will be an interesting opportunity, both for the researcher, but also the researchee, to understand what kinds of privacy holes exist in their digital footprint. And then finally, we'll be doing a final project, which will give you an opportunity to apply all the course learning into some new context of your choosing in the form of a journalistic piece, an op-ed about any real world technological dilemma in education, or any real world technological dilemma that has to do with young people or schools and schooling. And that's it. So that final project, like we said, will have multiple checkpoints where you'll be able to participate, we will be able to get feedback both from the teaching team as well as your peers. So you won't be submitting anything blind without having first floated it past a few eyes and gotten feedback on it as well. And then, Emma, do you want to talk really briefly about kind of the major themes weekly that we'll be going through?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's plenty more about this in the syllabus, but kind of some of the big headline topics that we'll be hitting along the way. We're going to start in the more theory-based side of things, talking about ethical and philosophical and epistemological foundations for quantitative research and data collection, and talking about, what is data science, what is AI. Then we'll move on to talking about the people who go about this work. So we're calling this pipelines, people, positionality, and choices, and trying to expose how all of these things work. And then we'll talk about data collection, privacy, consent, and surveillance, with a specific focus on young people and students. And then week 4, we'll be looking at the legal frameworks that surround these things. This is more US focused, but we're looking at FERPA and COPPA here, which is about educational data collection and also online data collection for under 12s. And then also a couple of technical topics about de-identification and K-anonymity, which are approaches folks are taking to meet those legal requirements and also try to balance the needs of transparency, which can be great and achieve a lot of good goals, but can also leak a lot of information, and being able to do research and protect people's identity. There's a lot of competing goals here. Finally, we'll hit algorithmic bias and what it is and what some strategies for mitigating it might be. And then we'll close out on one of my favorite topics in an area of my expertise, talking about testing, standardized testing, high stakes accountability, test score inflation, things along those lines. And we'll finish with a celebration of your learning when we'll get to share the final projects with each other. And that is as much as we can really tell you in advance about this course. We're really excited to embark on this spring module with you all. Avriel, any closing thoughts?
No, I just want to say anybody who's interested in technology, who's at the ed school, or who's not at the ed school but is interested in technology and education and technology and people, should definitely take this class. I think it's a really unique course. And I also think anybody who's interested in quantitative research but is grappling with things like identity and positionality and ethics in quantitative research more broadly as it relates to thinking through your own stuff as you do your research and wanting to do it in a thoughtful, equity-minded way, would probably get a lot out of this course as well. It's me and Emma's first time teaching this course. It's brand new, and we're trying to fit a lot into a module. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're all going to be learning together. Emma and I are both going to be learning a lot as well with you guys. So I'm just super excited, and I really hope that you all sign up and we get to learn with you.
Fantastic. Hope to see you at the Q&A on the 19th.
Great. Thanks, Emma. Bye.
Bye.